We made it! It's October 20th, and we made it through the weekend. We all did. Some people did not. Some people did not. They passed away. They passed away. I know this is an interesting way to open the show. I was gonna maybe talk about it later, but I guess it's just top of mind because I saw a horrific car wreck on Saturday night. Coming home from hosting the 150th year of the fraternity Phi Delta Theta. And I was on my way home. I was on a 2-lane highway. And up ahead, I saw a fire. And I was like, oh, I just thought that generally when that happens, what you see is a vehicle on the side of the road on fire. But, because it caught fire, something was wrong with it internally, not because of an external force like what I drove up on. And it was this car that had swerved and kind of like hit in between the driver's door and the engine, like the front of the vehicle. Dude, like the movies, man. I mean, an insane fire. Insane. So much smoke. The entire vehicle that was hit was ablaze. The whole thing. I've never seen anything like it. Some people had someone out laying on the concrete. As I was pulling up on it, that's when all the ambulances and police started showing up. So I flipped a Yui and I headed out. I mean, it was a bad accident. So I was looking up yesterday trying to see what had happened to the people. And I couldn't find anything. But then this morning, before I left for the day, my wife told me that neither one of those people survived. Just drove up on right there, just dead people. Very sad. Very sad. One was 19, a 19-year-old boy. I mean, that is heartbreaking. And then a 48-year-old woman. Both gone. I don't know if one was in that fire or if people are able to get him out. But not cool. Not cool. 19, dude. That is too young. I guess the kid overcorrected. He was like swerving a little and then swerved too far and just clipped that car. But not an uplifting way to start the show. But I just, for whatever reason, it just came out when I started talking. So that's where we're gonna leave it. Let's move on. Let's move on to something funny real quick. And then we'll talk about some other things. I had 2 shows this past weekend. One at the Funny Bone in Omaha with Duncan Trussell. And then that show with the fraternity that I had mentioned. So we'll get into that. We'll touch on some news and stuff like that. But first, last night, I watched a Halloween movie with my family. It was called Pumpkinhead, R.L. Stine's Pumpkinhead. And I don't know what it is. Is it because Halloween? Is Halloween all about spells? I mean, can we have a movie where people aren't speaking in Latin out of a 10,000-year-old ancient book of spells? Can we have that? I'm like, what is this Latin that they're speaking? I was almost going to look it up but that would have been too much. Too much Latin. But anyways, other than that, it was a good, fun Halloween movie. I mean, I enjoy the R.L. Stine, the Goosebumps. I grew up on them. There was just kind of lighthearted scares. But this movie, dude, it had some of the worst casting I have ever seen in a movie in my entire life. I mean, the actors that they chose for some of these roles were so unpleasant to the eye, it was hard to even look at. It was hard to even get through the movie. One of the main characters is a female. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was. It might have been a Vietnamese boy. That was playing a woman. I'm serious. You could not tell whatsoever. I mean, there is a reason why in movies there are beautiful people in them. It's because it makes watching the movie, it doesn't make you squint and be like repulsed. Is that too strong of a word? I know we're talking about people's appearances right now, and it might be frowned upon, okay? And I know I might not be the most pleasant peach to look at. I know who I am and where I fall. So I'm not like, I get it, but I am going to comment on this because it is a movie. They do put to fit the role. I mean, think about the Brad Pitts, the George Clooney's, the whatever, the famous women. I can't think of what. I was going to say Jennifer Aniston, but I don't know if she's on HGH or what, but her face is looking quite manly. So maybe Jennifer Aniston from Friends. I don't like judging people's appearances that much, but it's something that we have to talk about because I don't understand the casting direction of this film. This Vietnamese boy, woman, I'm not sure. It has nothing to do with the color of skin. It has everything to do with the shape of the head, the flatness of the face, and in the confusion on whether it is a female or a male. That's what it is. It was weird. Every time that the person was on screen, even my son is like, what is happening? Like, who is this person? And then there was a scene in the movie where the person, I'm going to refer to as a person, and no disrespect, I don't know, you can't tell if it's a man or a woman. You just can't. So where this person had traded, I don't want to explain the whole thing. It was sitting on the couch. The dad came up to it. It was wearing a mask. And the person was watching TV, and it was watching a drag show. A drag show during the point where it was just this character and the dad. So that character was watching a drag show, but it wasn't really the character. It was someone impersonating that character, but whatever. It was supposed to be that person. And I'm like, are they trying to tell us something? I'm like, are they trying to tell us something? Why would this person, who clearly you can't tell what sex it is, be watching a drag show? And not only that, they got to put in the drag, don't they? They just got to do it. They got to go, take those trannies, take them. We're going to put them in everywhere we can. No one knows what the end game is with why they're shoving it in our face like that. So anyways, then we'll move on. Questionable situation. One of the main characters, there are going to be spoilers. I'm going to spoil this movie probably, and that's just what it is. Okay. And I don't think that you should care. I don't think you should be like, oh, God, Austin ruined Pumpkinhead for me. God, I was going to sit down and enjoy Pumpkinhead, and he spoiled the whole thing. Like, it shouldn't matter. It's not a movie that's good enough that if it's spoiled, you should care. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So And it had like an insane ending. Like I can't even believe this movie ended this way, to the point where my son is like, they have to make a second one. You can't end a movie this way. But I won't spoil that. Maybe I will. I don't know. Anything's possible. So there are two brothers. Okay, they moved to this small town with their mom. Their dad died, and the younger brother, he's just like feels left out, that the older brother and the mom are closer, that he doesn't get to be part. It was revealed he's really close to his dad, so he's kind of bad, and he steals the pumpkin of this guy in town, his prized pumpkin, which is actually a child. That's right, because this guy is running I don't know. The earth is taken over, and it turns children into pumpkins to give a good harvest of all the vegetables. Yeah. Yeah, it's a movie about child sacrificing for the land to grow fruit. I don't know. Must be mine or whatever, but they do it in a fun way. They do the child sacrificing in just a real lighthearted manner. So the little kid steals it. He has to return the pumpkin. The people find out, but the older brother goes. Okay, the older brother, the person playing that character, is talks so annoying, and was also just there was no pleasure in watching this person on screen. You just wanted him off. I couldn't understand him. The way he was talking, he was trying to be cool, but it was just, I hated everything about it. I didn't want him to, like, if he was going to be in the whole movie, I don't even know if I could watch the movie. But then when he rode his bike to return the pumpkin to Palmer, that's the character's name, I was like, yes. I go, he's going to hopefully turn into a pumpkin, and he won't be able to speak for the rest of the movie. That's what I said out loud to my wife and son. So it is a decently scary movie. It's kind of creepy. It's got a creepy scarecrow thing. So it is, and my son's 13, so it was a little creepy for him and scary. But I'm just thinking about how I cannot wait for this character to get off the screen, so I can enjoy this movie every time. Also, that Vietnamese boy is not on screen. So he goes into the barn. No one's there. And he's looking around, and then where that prized pumpkin is, there's all these vines and everything. And as he gets close, the land needs another child, It needs another child so it can, I don't know, it turns into a pumpkin and then it goes into the ground, and all the crops are great. So the vines start grabbing the boy. They start, going around his legs and his arms, and they're pulling him down, and there's vines everywhere. And I'm like, yes, I just start yelling this, okay? So my wife and son are basically scared. This is a horror movie. A child is being attacked by vines who's going to be turned into a pumpkin and then killed. And I'm going, yes, yes. And I just yell, put one down the throat, because I didn't want him to talk anymore. So I'm yelling, put one down the throat. And then right after I said that, a vine goes up, and the kid's screaming. He's like, ah! And then it goes down his throat, and he's choking. And I'm like, yes! I'm like, yes! Yes! You did it! I start clapping. I'm just, I'm excited. At the time, I was caught up in the moment. I didn't think about how this may look to my wife, and also my 13-year-old son, who was, thought it was scary. And I look after it's over. I look over at him because I'm like, I'm right. I wanted to be like, I'm right, guys. Like, I was right. Like, everything I wished for has happened. He's turned into a pumpkin. He can't, like, we found out later on, they went in there and his face is on the pumpkin, but he was just like, ah, like he couldn't talk. So everything I wished for, I got. And I looked over and my son is like, that is the most disturbing thing I have ever seen you do. He's like, who does that? Who cheers for one of the main characters to be killed and turned into a pumpkin? He's like, put one down the throat? Put one down the throat? And I am dying laughing. I can't even breathe because I realized how insane that must have seemed. He's like, I've never seen you excited in any movie that we've watched. He's like, clapping? Clapping why that kid was killed? And I'm like, it wasn't about that. It was just an annoying character I wanted off the screen or whatever. But that is the long story of Pumpkinhead. And I laughed, dude. I laughed so hard I was crying. Okay? I laughed after the movie was over. I laughed right, as I was going to bed. I'm laughing right now. It was that funny to do. I mean, just think about it. If you're watching a horror movie with your kid and they're scared and then you're clapping for the kid to be killed in the film, It was a whole thing. So I went to the show Friday night at the Funny Bone. It was cool. And Duncan Trussell, interesting guy. He's done a lot of drugs, apparently, he said. Acid for lots of years. The DMTs and all that. And all I can say is you can tell. You can tell that he's done that to his mind. Very nice guy, though. And some great bits. A lot of things, a lot of great jokes that I laughed at. And overall, cool time. Next night, I'm hosting this fraternity thing. It is business attire. I'm in a suit. Everyone's in the suits. And it's the alumni. And these people are given money, okay? A lot of them are rich, dude. I mean, I could tell, but then I found out, how rich. And, like, the rich, they pepper and they salt and pepper their food in a way that only a rich person could. I don't know how to explain it. I was watching these people salt and pepper that I know had a lot of money. And the way that they just they put it on with their finger out and everything. It was like, how the rich, they have certain spoons and forks and they hold them certain ways. It was just like, I was like, man, I wish I had so much money that I just naturally salted and peppered my food like these people can. I tried to do it. I went to this was happening at another table. And when I was at my table, I tried to see if my wrist would be able to salt and pepper the way this rich dude was doing it. And it can't. I don't have enough money to be able to salt and pepper like that. So, dreams and goals. I had to write it in my goal book. Be able to salt and pepper like the rich. And then I met a woman who apparently is one of the richest people in Lincoln. And I kind of told her where I lived and where I was moving. And she was like, moving up, I see. Because there's small towns or whatever. And I don't know if she was mocking me or if she was just doing a joke. She was very, very nice. Very nice. But you never know with rich people. You've seen the movies. You don't know. You think that they're being nice, but really they're mocking you for your lack of funds. I don't know, but I did like her. This old lady, and she reminded me of someone, and I just can't put my finger on it. I can somewhat. She kind of, I don't want to say that, though. I don't want to say she reminded me of that person. Should I say it? Should I say it? She kind of had she kind of looked like Nancy Pelosi without the cans, you know? I don't know. But she was nice. There, it's out there. It's out there in the world. It's out there. And then, so fraternities, I learned a lot about them. They like to party. There were some people there that were from that graduated in the 70s, maybe even like 69, maybe. I don't know, but they invented this thing called, I don't know if I should be even, they're very secretive. It's a secretive thing. There was no video allowed. There was no photos allowed. So I don't know if I can talk about one of the things that they invented. Because I've asked to be an honorary fraternity member. Because I used the AI while I was there to see if honorary fraternity membership was a real thing. And it is. And I told them that in my closing remarks. And said that I've provided a great community service here tonight by being the master of ceremonies, and that I would like to be an honorary. And one dude said he was going to make me a plaque, so I don't know if I want to divulge one of their things. Okay. I don't think it's that. I mean, it's just fraternity stuff. These guys invented this thing called the rickety ram. And the rickety ram, I guess, is where you go to a sorority, you get butt naked, and you run around the sorority in circles. That's what they used to do back in the day. I'm sure the cops gave a wink. I'm sure if the cops pulled up and saw him doing it, the cops back then would have tossed him a beer, and just been like, here you go, bro. And they would have caught it and stood there naked with the cop and killed some beers or whatever. That's probably how it was back then. Now, that's jail time. That's you're probably going to jail for a while. Indecent exposure, all sorts of things if you're running around. But I mean, people were still running around back in 2009, I guess. They had this other thing where they would go to a sorority and there was a giant anchor and they would take off all their clothes and throw it on the anchor in the wintertime. And all the clothes would be frozen to it. And that's when the police started to care. And this dude told me that the police chased him, butt naked, and he was running through the snow and tried to jump over a hedge. Got his balls, ripped him, cut him real bad. Ball blood, all the tracks. All right, his balls were bleeding. And left a track like a wounded animal all the way back to the fraternity where he was found and arrested. That's 2009. That's when they started to put an end to that kind of behavior. I don't know if it's going on today. I really don't. But here's the deal. Then, like, all this was going on. I'm sure that not everyone that goes to a fraternity is successful. I'm sure there are some people that have fell through the cracks, got arrested, work at Dollar General. I don't know. But a lot of people that go through there, and then you see them then, and they're very successful. They look like very serious guys, but they were a terror in college. They were doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And the other thing that I found was interesting is that when you look at these older pictures of people like in 1969 and stuff, everyone's wearing a suit. Just in general. Like if you look at a yearbook, any yearbook in this country from like 1960s, the senior pictures, everyone is wearing a suit. Maybe even in the other pictures too. I think that's just what everyone did. And so you look at that and you go, man, back then people were not depraved. They were not insane alcoholics and partiers and mischief makers. They were reserved and smart, dedicated men that served their community and one another. And apparently that's not true. That's not true at all. They were the most insane back then. That's what I've learned. So the suit was almost like a cloak. It played a trick on the mind. You think that they're distinguished and reserved, but in reality they are taking those suits off and flapping their bits at sorority windows. So don't let images fool you, is all I'm saying. Because you can be fooled. I really wanted to record with video today's episode, but was unable to. And so I will be doing it tomorrow. We're pretty much out of time here, but some of the news stories, maybe I'll touch on them more tomorrow when we have more time. But they got oversharing with AI, how your ChatGPT conversations could be used against you. I saved that article because I was like, that would be insane. But I don't ask AI anything that anyone could ever use against me. I mainly just, I don't tell it anything personal. I mean, this is obviously, we're just feeding it into a giant database. But I did work with this comic, kind of when ChatGPT, had been out for a little bit, but it was a lot newer than it is now. And they said that they go, if my ChatGPT conversations ever got leaked, I would end my life. I would be the most horrified I'd ever be in my entire life. And I'm thinking, like, what in God's name have you told that AI machine, man? I do not do that at all. So I suggest that you don't either. And then also, I guess Newsom is escalating a war with Chicken Joe Rogan, dude. God, Newsom is just embarrassing, dude. Like, he's just one of those dudes, like, when you hear of things that he says and what he does, you just feel embarrassed for him. Really, like, he's doing all caps and he's talking like Donald Trump and like, it's just cringe, dude, as the children would say. As to steal the vernacular from a child. Cringe. God, and then when he calls people a son of a bitch and he's trying to be tough and all that, he's just a loser, man. Like, he really is. Incompetent, like, those people where they just try, you're just like, God, you can't even really explain it. You're just like, man, you just have to be embarrassed for them because they have no self-awareness. They have no clue what a douchebag they are. So I got to read more about that and see what that's all about. But, I mean, they're going to run Newsom to be president, and it is an abomination. It really is. Okay, so that's it. That's it for today. We're going to wrap it up, and be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. It's the Austin Anderson Show. Share it with a friend. Share it with the family. Subscribe to things. Have a good day.